Yeah, that's the report from the 20 Olympics where Nigeria definitely were not at their best. Well, it was the preparations. Preparations wasn't top-notch, and so most of the athletes went there expecting miracles, but sometimes it just doesn't happen for most of them. It didn't happen for most of them. Well, Judge Ashiru joins us now. He is the president of Nigeria Taekwondo Federation. Taekwondo, of course, were not part of those who went for the Olympics. Reasons best known to most of the athletes and, of course, the federation. Good morning and Happy New Year to you.
Morning, madam. Good morning. How are you? Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Nice to see you
Happy
this year.
New Year.
Same to you.
Okay.
Yep.
2016 for you, how was it like?
Bittersweet. You know, I like to be very straight up about that. We like the Olympic experience. Whether we win or we don't win, we like the athletes to have it in their CV for the rest of their lives that we were there, we represented our country. It didn't happen for a million reasons, some of which has already been overflogged. But I think the most critical thing is we learn lessons and we move on from there. And the biggest lesson has to be learned even by the sports administrators at the helm of affairs. Combat sports averagely requires 8 years to get a person to peak. And we don't just select our athletes off the street and take them to Olympic trials and expect them to do well. We really need injuries. This is combative. People get injuries. People need psychological preparations. They need the electronic preparations. You know, those things that we wear are very expensive. So we are trying to make sure that we are working very well with the World Federation to ensure that athletes going forward will not experience any last-minute issues like we had especially 2015, because you have to remember that you lead up to the Olympic trials. Yeah. As at 2015, we were not even expected to go for Olympic trials. That's how bad it was. We were not expected to even go for the trials, according to the ministry. And so to even go for the trials was itself a miracle.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really a surprise that the guys couldn't really make it past that.
You see, when you already have the inside information that we're only picking certain sports, it already is a dampener psychologically. It makes you think then what else is there to do than just go. But we kept pushing forward because we had hope. And we're thankful that I only had a few days notice to say, can you find money and send your team? We've decided that you should go. So I would like to say the athletes did well, despite this. Don't forget that 3 of them were in the finals.
Yes.
3 of them were in the position to qualify. And it was just unfortunate that none of the 3 qualified. But they were top 3 in Africa, and their rankings remain. And they've learned their lessons that they're going to continue getting the rankings up. We have some of them already in the US right now preparing for the US Opens in January. So I've been involved in the Olympic careers. I've trained athletes from zero to the Olympics, so I understand the issues. Okay. But I'm not a complainer. I just want to move on.
Okay.
And Cecilia,
moving on now.
Yeah. Well, moving on. Yeah, in 2017. Before we get there, you talked about administration as well too. I mean, what are you guys? I mean, at the leadership of the Nigerian Taekwondo Federation, what are you hoping to do differently in 2017 to ensure that our athletes, rise to the top?
Well, one of the things we did in 2016 was after the hula balloon came down, we just went straight into action, and we organized one tournament after the other, after the other, after the other. We were busy towards the end of the year. We had our own national sports festival at the end of the year. We had over 300 athletes. We had even a gold medalist from Yobe, who's in the middle of the war. So we already have right now our national team of 16 athletes. We have World Championships in June. We've had tournaments that have given the athletes opportunity to get back into the frame of, let's get ready. Para Taekwondo will be in Tokyo 2020. Okay. We have already joined the Nigeria Paralympic Committee. We are recognized and approved. We have 2 athletes that went to the African Championship and won gold and bronze. So essentially 2016, the last 3 quarters was very positive for laying foundations of the future.
Was it because of the fallout of not participating at the Olympics that actually made you guys to look inwards and say, okay, we can do better? And how were you able to raise funds for most of the activities you carried out?
In business, when you do your business plan and the government changes policies, you go back and rearrange and then you put your things in place. And that's what we did. We called ourselves together and said, what do we need to do to get these athletes encouraged? And apart from the NGOs organizing their tournaments, I made sure that at least there was another tournament, All Africa Games standard in terms of quality, Olympic style, and then the Korean Ambassador competition was changed to be a mirror of the National Sports Festival. When we had festival was not going to hold, and it was fantastic. It was a great event, a large turnout, over 300 athletes, and now the minister was there, and the minister said, I will sponsor these athletes to the World Championships. So essentially, we got the momentum going because we realized that the athletes look up to us to provide that leadership.
Okay, so when is the World Championship?
It's June in Muju, Korea.
Okay.
And it's critical because we need to get athletes getting points. It's not one of those tournaments you say, well, we missed this one and then let's see what happens Olympic qualifiers.
So you must go for
the
that
athletes
one.
need to keep going. The athletes, let me give you a classic example of the importance of the World Championships. Mexico 2013, I led the team to the World Championships. And we met a young man from Niger. He was just 19 years old, 6'7". In the middle of the second round of a match, he gave up because he couldn't continue. The pressure was too much for him. But guess what? 2016, he won a silver in the Olympics. He's a gentleman who couldn't even go past, but he was there. He got the experience. He looked around. He saw the problem. He saw the issues. And guess what? He came to Nigeria to compete and then picked up the necessary knowledge. And in 3 years, he moved from zero to hero. So what says that we don't have the potential? We just need to give them that exposure. And I keep saying it. Government still has to fund the exposure. We don't go to government for national championships, for national seminars, conferences, events, but to take one athlete to a major event, 1 million, 1.5 million, and they are representing your country, you are carrying your flag. We need to at least make sure that, and I understand that is about to happen in 2017.
Because, I mean, we keep hearing the sports minister talking about our federations being autonomous, that they have to have their own and all that, source for funds for everything and all. And even when Olympics is coming, you see hear them talking about the fact that federations have to source for funds. Now, you talked about the fact that he has said you're going for the World Championship in June. Have you set motion in rolling, I mean, concerning funding, just in case we have this issue of government is no ATM, there's no money for these athletes to go, and you start running from pillar to post to
it is the duty of I mean, the last World Championship in Russia was self-sponsored. We sent ourselves there.
Okay.
We've been to many championships abroad without government support. We went to the World Team Championships 2013. We never got any funds. You will hear me complain about it because we believe it's a sacrifice. So we will always have Plan B.
Okay.
But I always make sure I reiterate the fact that World Championship is next to the Olympics. And that's not the one you say, well, just find your way. That's the one you say we need to use the World Championship to even know whether you have athletes that are quality enough to invest in. Don't forget, let me give you some statistics. Last year, maybe 2015, the Nigerian Olympic Committee was able to get IOC grants for a lot of athletes. Okay. Most of them in athletics and wrestling. Some of them got as much as $26,000 each to prepare. That 26,000 will have given me maybe 8 Taekwondo athletes. One that was given to one athletic candidate could have given me opportunity to give 8 Taekwondo athletes the same level of opportunity and exposure. But we didn't even get one grant.
Why was
that? Well, the criteria is always that, look, what have they done? Where have they gone to? What is their rank in the world? So if they don't go to the World Championships and then have some level of something to present to the NOC, how will they be judged? We made applications for it. They just basically said, look, there are more chances for our athletes in wrestling or in athletics or in table tennis. So the likes of Haruna got, the likes of our athletic giants, the blessings that they got. So we need to understand that it's a potpourri of things that come together to provide opportunity for athletes. And like I said, being the vice chairman of the Nigerian Olympic Committee Technical Committee, I have a lot of information as to how these things work. And I'm trying to make sure that this time around we don't make the mistake of not getting into the core of the action.
Okay, now, if IOC will provide grants for some of these athletes, I know in some countries, they rate athletes according to how they've competed in various tournaments. For instance, in Great Britain, you can have an athlete getting as much as maybe close to almost £1 million every year, for them to actually, train and also pay coaches and everything. Is it possible for us to have that in Nigeria, just rate the athletes the way they are and give them grants, and that can also help those who are coming up to actually aim for that particular position?
In 2013, a national high-performance task team was set up, supposedly funded by then President Goodluck Jonathan. The idea at the meeting that we had, that I'm a member of that committee at that time, was that we will start giving grants to each of the top federations that are likely to produce Olympic athletes. They will give us a list of some of the top athletes, and they will get a certain number of grants in US dollars per year. That will take care of all their needs. That was in the paper.
That was 2013.
But between 2013 and 2016, I don't think 80% of what was agreed was followed through. And I cannot say whether it was funding or maybe the frequent changes of ministers. I really can't say this is just one thing. But the idea is that good ideas were put forward. You know, foreign experts were brought in, and they were paid in US dollars. That means that there was a plan. But what happened between the National High Performance Task Team and the Rio is another story for researchers to research. But this is the mistake we cannot make for Tokyo. And I'm trying to be candid this time around, because as a victim of the unfortunate circumstances, I want to make sure that I keep repeating that we can't let it happen. At federation level, at the ministry level, at the National Assembly that approves and provides for these funds, this is not talk shop anymore. This is action. It's time for money to back plans.
Okay, and I hope we're definitely going to get that particular money soon, if it's possible. You know, we're going to break now. Judge Ashiru is still with us. When we come back, we'll be asking more questions. 2017, the big plans they're having for the athletes.